Hello and good evening, everybody. Diabetes is second here. We got some Dragon Warrior Randomizer on the agenda. I know, it's a shock. Go ahead and get ourselves readied up. Looks like we got a 4-person race about to start. Hey, Angro, welcome in. Countdown is on. Good luck, have fun. 3, 2, 1, go. Looks like we got our friend Jason from Blaster Master. Starting off this one with gold in the fighter's ring. 16, 14, 31, 4. No spells. Should be enough strength to take down a Mandrake. It's going pretty well, though, Angerel. Brief hiatus there for a few weeks with the holiday and some family stuff and life and all that good things. Kinda back in the racing seat. And yes, welcome in Dr. Olo as well. 2 days in a row. 1, 4, 3, 1. No spells. If we can sneak a scorpion kill in here. Big roll. Yes! And that's good for level 3, 4, 0, 0, 3. And outside. Not much help at level 1 and 2, or 2 and 3 rather. Few strength, few HP. Outside doesn't really do anything for us. At least not yet. Yeah, recharging is always helpful. I've done that a few times with DWR. I think I played pretty consistently for quite a while. The first 6 or 7 months that I was on the racing scene. Little bit of a break during like my first winter league. I mean, I was still racing a lot with the league races. Okay, hurt more. I have hurt more. Scorpion, you are not supposed to use hurt more. But since then, it's been pretty consistent. At least in terms of getting races in here and there. A couple of brief hiatuses, nothing too long. It'd be nice if we got first strike on the werewolf, but alas. OAG rockin' in with the host, watching me get destroyed by Sharlock enemies right outside the castle. Welcome in, hopefully you're having a good Saturday evening. OAG still rocking the very, very nice PlayStation 1 RPG Tour. Looking to finish Legend of Dragoon soon. Did you make it to Disc 4 last night? I kind of passed out before the end of the stream. Some of us were sleepy. 3, 0, 10, 4. Repel. 9+ hours left, so a good 3 streams. Maybe 4, depending on how it goes, I guess. Kind of interesting here. It doesn't seem like we really have good access to any of our adjacent zones outside of swamp tiles. And immediately to the northeast is Sharlock tier stuff. Stats are pretty mediocre, nothing outstanding for level 5. But we do have Hurt More, which is really the key here. Strength and agility in the 20s, 3 Hurt Mores to our name. Just takes time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the boss was, because I'm not super familiar with Legend of Dragoon, but that one boss fight took ages last night. Or at least it certainly seemed like it. Divine Dragon. Not necessarily, I mean, again, it's probably, again, as somebody who kind of has lurked a little bit more in the stream rather than really dedicatedly watched gameplay, it seemed more like it was just, not mindless, but it wasn't necessarily challenging, it was just long. 3-3, 2-3. Hurt. Hey, Mr. Holmes, welcome in. Can I beat the bot? Well, if I don't hurt more at 20 HP, having done 163 damage on the Dragon Lord, then my answer is maybe. Hopefully you also are having a good Saturday night. Nice crit. Billick, welcome in. I got a follow from ya a couple weeks ago, and I just haven't been streaming. I was out of town for a bit, family stuff going on for the holiday, and some other things. But welcome aboard. Ah. Again, kind of an interesting situation here. I mean, immediately to the northeast, as soon as we get out of zone 0, 1, 2, we immediately run into Armored Knight, Werewolf, Blue Dragon. If we go east, it's just swamp, swamp, and more swamp. Mr. Holmes. That would be great. Personally, I am only going to respond in the form of copy and pasting the flag string. What was that? 5329. Oh, wow, there's a town right here. It's Breck. Decent equipment. It's very strange. I agree with you 100%. I haven't really entirely understood it. I don't know. Today was a good example. I opened the race room and we had a joiner within 10 seconds, maybe? Like, maybe a second after I joined, and I'm the one who opened the room. It's like, really? That's fairly impressive. Fingers crossed we don't die. Well, wow. Chainmail does nothing. It's definitely a possibility, OAG, but honestly, it's so fast that I don't think that that's possible. Like, it takes longer for the page to load than it takes for this person to join races. So what we're kind of talking about, there is an individual in the community, they've got a ton of races to their name at this point. Nothing wrong with that. It's awesome, in fact. But they, as far as I can tell, have literally never said anything in any chat. 6499. Gilmore. When they've been asked questions, they just paste, like, something else from the chat, or, like, the flags for the race, or the checksum again, or something. Their stream is game audio only. Chat is emote only, as Mr. Holmes just indicated. Never responds to messages, never on mic. And joins, as Mr. Holmes also said, literally any time of day, literally always within seconds of a race opening. No matter how long a race room is open, will sit there the entire time and be like right on it as soon as the seed is rolled. It's weird. Prize pool? I wish there was a prize pool. Otherwise, what am I wasting my life for? 13214. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, there's nothing really. Hurtmore plus hurt was not enough to kill the werewolf. Ugh. It's not even really a matter of cheating. I don't even think that that's really a consideration. To be honest with you, they've kind of put themselves at a disadvantage because they use a longer name. If you'll notice, pretty much everybody who races, all of our names are single character names. And if you'll notice, in the text of the battles here, every time that you attack, or you get, you know, preempted or something, it mentions the character's name. Each or the hero's name. Each character takes 1 frame to animate, and they use an 8-character name. Meaning they're losing 7 frames every round of battle, basically, compared to everybody else. That'd be a pretty terrible way to cheat. Oh, Mr. Holmes, 1 in 1,000 is nothing. You and I both know it makes no difference to this game. It could be 1 in 65,536 and it would not matter. Still happens just as likely. Really? Bouncer. I'm not sure what the max HP is. I forget. There's a couple of them that are a little bit weird. I want to say that it's 70? So I think your odds of killing them in one hurt more is a little bit lower than... Seriously? Dude. Go away. It's weird because there's some of these enemies, especially in this tier, that are like a couple of HP off of their vanilla values. And it's hard to remember which is which. But it is close to that, nonetheless. If I could just stop getting hit for 45 or so by the Armored Knight, that would be great. He can hit me for like 22, but no, let's roll 44 and 45. I did see it, OAG, but I haven't pulled them yet. I need to dump a bunch of stuff off my hard drive right now. I have a bunch of race VODs that I need to upload to YouTube that are taking up like 80 gigs in my download folder right now. So I need to check that out. As soon as I get the opportunity to, I will offload that stuff and then download those to 8, 26, and 11. Ugh. Nice, Mr. Holmes. Very nice. I almost asked you. I did end up putting a feeler out to someone. They haven't gotten back to me yet, and I guess since we need to sign up by tomorrow, we should probably get on that. If they're the go, that is. Wonder why they were so tough to hunt down. I appreciate you taking a look. I definitely want to give them a watch. Very interested to see exactly what is involved there. We're talking about some, I guess Dragon Quest based. I'm not even sure exactly what it is. TBH. But I'm definitely interested to see what they did with it. Let's just try it. Why not? Continuing the grind seems like a pretty reasonable thing to continue. Wraiths and Armored Knights are both good in this zone. Blue Dragons, meh. Werewolves also good. Now with the hand axe we can just punch to finish them off. We can finish these guys off with, well, 2 punches or axe swipes apparently. Glad to see you're going to be joining up, Mr. Holmes. That'll be fun. 50-50. Nope. Well, we tried. I've only done a couple of co-op seeds with Nim, and that was not really under Bucket Brigade conditions. So I know some of the strats are out because of the no reset rule, and then of course, entire endgame scenario of killing the Dragon Lord with Fairy Water. Haven't done that. I mean, realistically though, if anything, it cuts down on the need to grind further. Let's go. 12, 5, 13, 12. That's a pretty big level. I should probably get moving. Hey, Vertical Sandwich, welcome in. Level 10 in 20 minutes. Slept through the start of a good one. Perhaps. 16 strength start, so not too bad. I think more importantly, we picked up Hurt More at level 5. And I pretty much just sat and ground for the last 15 or so minutes. Seemed like the right thing to do. Another town. Cantlin. Not much more I'd want to find in a shop. Well, that's pretty much everything I'd want to find in a shop. We can't really do anything else here. We've already seen a large shield elsewhere, we've already seen half plate elsewhere, and we already have a hand axe. Literally a broadsword would be the only other thing that I would be interested in, and it's only a 5-point upgrade. Kinda don't care. HPMP is probably the optimal build. Go through the swamp. Well, it's probably not strength HP, right? I mean, it's unlikely, probably, that strength is going to be all that important, and because you'll get a quote-unquote slight strength boost by choosing a non-strength long-term growth stat build, it kind of makes sense, because you'll have that little bit of a boost at the beginning to choose a non-strength build. HPMV versus MP agility. I mean, that's a tougher call. I mean, HP is important because you want to get to that at least 97 HP barrier if possible. Gosh, not a swamp in this seed. Our first cave and another town. The grave. No keys. We do have outside. Oops. First belt in the first chest. Wings. Gold. Nothing of tremendous significance. Garenham. Kind of was hoping for Remolder. Maybe Hawksness. Or Cole. I guess I could check for a large shield real quick. They have one. Another cave. Stone's Cave, freebie chest. Nada. That was an herb. We're going to be doing at least a bit of backtracking in this one, just because we don't have keys yet. Oh boy, this is a particularly windy map. Not my favorite. This is Mountain Cave. Thou hast found the gold. Hey, key access, let's go. Could try for a gold grind. Dragon Scale, which we already have. More gold. Uh-oh. Fortunately, I know this map all too well. Fairy water. Huh. Is there anything even in here that can kill me? The answer is maybe not. Wraiths have fire breath. Okay. That could speed things up a bit. Oh boy. This is probably a bad idea. Ah yes, the 20-turn Death Warp. Okay, now Fire Breath. Oh god. All the one-turn sleeps, too. Good. Wow, that was, what, a 6 or 7 turn sleep? At least that part was faster, slightly. Now to hope for a gold grind. I hope there wasn't anything critical right by the mountain cave, because that was really far away. Alice found the wings, which was the torch. Alice found the nothing. The bamboo pole. Another torch. Come on. And the wings. Great! Panthagil, you continue to disappoint me and I forgot to buy keys first. Genius. Done that twice lately, and that's really irritating. Oh well. We tried. Time to explore a direction we haven't gone yet. Or at least haven't finished going yet. $13, $17, $10, $27. Wow. That counts as a level. Just faster to do this than cast return and go to town and heal up. I know, right? Where's the, what am I thinking here? Where's the, like, crafting mechanic in this game? Plot items. What kind of game do you think this is, Mr. Holmes? We ain't got no plot items. Depends. Is the dragon scale required? Nope, no plot items yet. No Erdrick's sword, no Erdrick's armor, and that's a lot of swamp. So, not purchasing keys is a pretty big mistake. We'll just have to see how large that mistake looms as the seed goes on here, because we could check the basement of Tanthagil, we could check the coordinates. Bottom of the grave, back of Garenham. Yeah, casting hurt more in that position where it's like, well, I only have a 94% chance to live. Clearly, that is a dangerous play. Although I do recall recently, I think playing a seed off stream, I mean recently, it's probably a month ago, dying to a 49 physical from DL2 when it was maybe not strictly necessary. That's Stone's Cave again. Kind of hoping I find Remuldar before having to re-dive Mountain Cave for another key. Alright, works for me. Oh, the timing. Alright, just cash here, so nothing critical, but we've now opened up a whole bunch more checks. Let's see what's left. Tablet Cave, both ends of Swamp Cave, both turn-ins, so we can't just go for the backs of Tanthagil and Garenham. We still have to explore. Looks like the eastern edge of the map. You have a point, Mr. Holmes. You have a point. Clearly, I need to do better. Circling back up toward Mountain Cave, I believe, just up here to the northeast. In fairness, I really haven't watched him, them, it, whatever, really race, so I'm not sure exactly what their playstyle is, or whether they're, you know, good or not. I know they've done a ton of races. I mean, just by osmosis at this point, you'd kind of have to be at least semi-decent. Just through repetition. Okay, nothing up here. Leave the menu open for an abnormal amount of time after getting a treasure chest. Interesting. Not really sure what to make of that specifically. I guess it depends on what the contents are. Could be a reading speed issue or other, you know, text-based issue. Again, assuming real person, you know. Which, I mean, I don't have any physical evidence to say otherwise. Just anecdotal. Gosh, I wish this board didn't just, like, eat markers alive. I swear. Alright, level 13. 13, 12, 7, 1. That's another pretty huge level. And another cave. Staff cave, we ain't got no harp. That would be perfect, you know, maybe if I didn't make a silly mistake like forgetting to buy keys earlier. I would have already checked the back of Tanthagil and the back of Garenham and the bottom of the grave and had everything already, but someone was dumb. I feel like I have to be backtracking down to where Garenham and the grave is anyway, unless my map is off. Oh. I guess it isn't. Garenham and the grave. Alright, fairy water in chest 1. More nothing, and the flute, great. Racking up those quest items. Those required quest items. Tablet. Could also have been Swamp South, based on walking one tile to the right, or Swamp North for that matter. Hey, stones. Darn it. No, I don't have Radiant. I literally just checked. Yeah, we got over 90 strength. So we are pretty strong, but only a hand axe to our name. Only one quest item. Running out of places to find stuff as well. Glad I made the call to leave the grind around what was at level 10. Hey, there's the harp. We can go do the turn-in. Couldn't go 2 steps without repel. Yeah, 77 agility at this point is also pretty nice. Be even better if we had a little bit better defensive equipment. We'd be repelling pretty much everything. But, of course, being dodged infinitely by the Demon Knight. It's great. Was that 5 dodges? Final chest key, so no help there. Right, harp, stones, flute, grave, Garenham. What's left? All of the search tiles. So at this point, Swamp Cave is in the back of Tanthagil. I believe we can still go perhaps slightly east of the grave. We didn't see everything there. Might be a little bit of land. And I think there's some space west of Garenham and Tablet Cave. Other than that, second continent it is. Mr. Holmes and Connery animated. I haven't gotten a chance yet. I really need to fill my additional emote slots. I'm not sure what to do with the animated one. I mean, to be honest with you, the one that Nescard made is probably exactly what I would have done. Just the walking back and forth on desert. Oh. This is... Alright, this is mountain. Okay. Yep, okay. It's just links. Fun police. Uh-oh. That is a good one, Mr. Holmes. Ah, Manning is the best. Yeah, I think this area up here we haven't explored yet. Clearly we haven't because there's, I guess, the other end of... Well, no, it could be the Jerk Cave. That's right. That is still out there as well, so that could also be in the back of Tanthagil. 25. There's the token, that's the last quest time. We still have none of Erdrick's equipment, so... Best case scenario, one's in coal, the other's in camp, on the overworld? Good placement for the Jerk Cave. One step on Plains tiles. I went one step on Plains tiles. Not having the sweater. See, I've never owned a pet, believe it or not. So I don't know the struggles. But yeah, that sounds a bit chilly. Probably a good idea. So Swamp is definitely in the back of Tanthagil now. Nothing in Coal. Nothing else to find. Guess we make the coordinates play. Preemptive Princess Rescue? We're already here, so I guess? Cantlin's not super far though, so this probably isn't necessary. Gosh, how was it yesterday here? It was like, what, 20 C-ish? About 70 Fahrenheit? It was a balmy day. Especially since we had snow last week. One step without repel. Just shows you how required repel is. Nice. Now here's hoping that our coordinates are going to be slightly more challenging than like 3 west, 2 north. Free Golem. Is that like free hat? Nice crit. 4, 1, 10, 13. Gosh, it's gonna be a really scary dive into Sharlock if this isn't the armor. Rocking the hand axe chainmail. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to hit. Fortunately, I saved. Oh, man. I swear, like, I didn't play for 2 weeks, and it's like I forgot what Dragon Warrior is all about. I will say, it is definitely a lot more challenging when you have, like, a good conversation and engaging chat and stuff, especially, you know, I do deal with a little bit of difficulty with attention and stuff, so definitely there, but that said, I would not go back to the days where I just wasn't on mic for races at all, back in the early days. 9 north, 80 east. Now the question is that in that long dead end that goes to Sharlock? Or is it beyond that by Remolder, which is also in the southeast corner of the map, but a completely different way? Yeah. Also blame Mr. Holmes. I mean, it's fair. Stone's Cave. Yeah, I think this is it. I'm not sure why I'm attacking this. One step without repel. Oh my gosh. It's the sword. I think we could still do this. That is true. Although I spent enough time in that zone, I think I would have seen DL2 Breath if it were there. Ugh, God, all this freaking swamp. It's okay, my chainmail will protect me. Probably should have stopped to buy... God, what was in Breck? Half plate? It's not worth it. I don't think I... Did I check the shop in Remolder? I don't think I did. Full plate would have been nice. That's... really? I haven't had any dropped inputs this entire race. That's so unnecessary. It's ridiculous. I'm not even menuing overly fast either. Yeah. I mean, I guess a Red Dragon back attack would probably have taken me out. I don't think anything else I could have died to. Of course, DL2 Breath. Or Sleep and something. Hurtmore would have been about a 50-50 proposition, also true. And we've seen quite a few Charlock enemies. We haven't seen either. Of course. Yeah, I mean, considering 78 agility, especially against the Armored Knight, we've had decent luck. Well, of course the Green Dragon wants to change all that. Wizard. That's true. I mean, it's still true regardless. It's just we're not defense breaking anything with our chainmail, so it doesn't matter as much, but their damage range for physicals is still the lowest. Of course, werewolves have hurt, so that, I guess, also could be a good option. This is less than ideal. Are we really gonna lose the single dive opportunity on the bottom floor? The answer is apparently yes. In fairness, I probably should have just been attacking through this. Of course, I didn't anticipate fighting two of them and failing to run like 6 times. I could probably win with like 6 heal mores. But we've only got 4. Sorry, 5. Really? Well, it didn't matter. Unless I've forgotten a chest somewhere, which is always possible with me, but I don't believe that's the case. What a troll. Yeah, that's true. No red dragons that we saw in any of the other two zones, but that is worth keeping in mind for the next dive down, although we should have way more resources than we need. Especially with Erdrick's armor and all that heal walking. Bad thing is it's kind of a long, annoying walk through. Well, the swamp won't matter anymore. Yeah, I should just go into the castle, talk to the king, and done. Probably also should just go to the gentleman in there, but I would like to buy herbage. Alright. Alright, as long as we don't get, like, uber trolled on the bottom zone, we should be totally fine here. Famous last words. This is fine. That is indeed the question. '78 agility, 130. Damn it, I keep doing that. 138 attack power. It's not a guaranteed 3-shot to kill him, but pretty decent odds. Not repelling anything at 79 defense, so no point spending repels or fairy water. Honestly, the odds are probably fairly even. Not sure exactly what the percentage is. It's 78 agility to run from a red, but it's probably right around 40-ish%. So it's probably technically slightly favored to run. 44, yeah, we're not two-shotting any, so we're gonna get hit at least twice, sometimes 3 times if we attack, plus dodges, so definitely worth considering that. Didn't seem to have any abilities, but they could have healing that we don't know about. At least we cut down their damage range by, like, what, 2 to 5, probably, with that Erdrick's armor pickup. Oh yeah, always risk mitigation. You can also factor in the possible bonus of picking up level 15 if you encounter and fight through enough of them. Although it will require, what, 6, almost, well, 7. Again. Pretty much the same with the Armored Knight, except even closer to 50% to run from them. I think the break-even point's 85 agility, we're at 78. That's a nice hero walk. And a fail to run from the wizard. Not the spike tile. No, it's 86? I thought it was 85. Either way. Golem. Go away, Golem. Just did 217 damage to that Golem, I think. This is also unnecessary. Thanks, game. That's fine. And I didn't even accept the Dragon Lord's proposal by accident. Pack attack. Thanks for the good luck. Hopefully we should be okay. Alright, let's not miss menu hurt more. Open with the 10. $25. Nice physicals there from DL2. 49 and 47. 42. $57. Nice. 88. 104. There's the 50. $117. $127. $144. God, the heal more has been awful. 156. In case I can't math, but we should be guaranteed to win on this swing. Min roll is 9, and that will get us to 165. We get to 169 instead. Very nice. Well, considering we rolled decently and generally had awful heal more rolls, and DL2 just had super high physicals pretty much throughout, it still worked out. We didn't have a lot of room for error, as it turned out, but a boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. So that is a first place finish, 116.39 officially. Good stuff. Oh, my map is a cluster. I should, like, redraw it. I think I've made the determination it is definitely the board that I use and not the markers, because brand new markers last about 3 sessions before they look like crap. So that will have to be replaced. Avitas. Close enough. Or maybe it's got that Y sound. It's Yo Beatus. Exactly. Taking a quick gander at the other racers, looks like everybody is in Sherlock. Not sure if they're all in full dive mode. Looks like DK is heading for the spike tile. Sentient Flatbread found out the bad news about Erdrick's armor being upstairs. BLK on the first floor at level 15 and does not have the armor. So they'll have a little bit of work as well. Alright, we'll clean the map up a bit, and then we'll get it up here on stream. Had a much more like map contour style in the past, but I kind of figured out that one, moving from paper to whiteboard, that was really not going to be possible. It just takes up way too much focus to do that, and it was just taking way too much time and attention off screen be looking down at a board and drawing contours for me. So this helped out a lot. Transitioning over to this. Sometimes it gets me into a little bit of trouble when you have large contiguous map areas. This was kind of one of those areas in here. There was some water in this area, but if I have a big open area, that can be a bit problematic. I have a tendency to try to shade a little bit to give myself an idea of this is a large contiguous area. Maybe it's possible that if I follow it along the edges, there's something in the middle, but I usually just mark my branch points, more or less. So yeah, but we did stick around and grind here. Once we got enough HP and we were able to survive some of those Armored Knight, Werewolf, etc. encounters, picked up a couple pieces of equipment in Breck. I think first a piece of chainmail, then a hand axe. So we were able to get through those. I think we ground up to level 10, perhaps 11. I think it was 11 because that was a decent sized level. Kind of decided it was time to branch out. Didn't want to grind up too far or too fast without having everything, since we had nothing at this point. Cantlin just to the northwest of that. Not really much help there. Some good equipment that we couldn't afford, but not much else. Next we did find the grave, I believe, and Garenham right to the north of it. Only dug out the top 3 chests in the grave without a key. Nothing there. Garenham, again, not really much help. We did find a large shield that we picked up. Is that right? Yeah. I think I'm not sure which way I went, if I went to the northeast or if I went more southeast. Found the Stones Cave, which didn't have anything. Looped up and around, and we did find the Mountain Cave, and that's where we got our key access, interestingly enough. Hadn't looped down to Remulder yet. But Mountain Cave did have our key access. We did attempt a gold grind, and definitely a mistake, because I had just 1 key when I took a Death Warp out of here. I forgot to buy keys first, so really, I probably could have saved a few minutes in this one if I had not made that mistake. Definitely took a little bit of time to re-find keys instead of going ahead, checking the basement, and finding Swamp Cave, Cantlin for the coordinates, which we would have been able to pick up on our way to discovering Remulder a little bit later. We could have dug out the last 2 chests in the grave, one of which was required. We could have checked the back of Garenham, etc. So that, without having to, explore a 3rd time through these same areas, so definitely some time save available for us. But eventually I did loop back around, found Remulder, picked up more keys, and then in the course of clearing everything, again, no gold grind in the castle, Swamp South was in the basement. Cantlin did have coordinates, I think it was like, 7 north, or 9 north, 80 east. Which was fairly close to Remulder, so we picked that up. That was the sword. Bottom of the grave, we found the harp. In Tablet Cave, which was, it's drawn as if it's farther up here, but Tablet was in the back of Garenham. That had the stones, I believe. We did our turn-in, kept exploring. Hawksness had nothing. Jerk Cave, we did our turn-in. Because we had already found our token. Oh, right, the token was in coal, I think, then we backtracked for that. So then that just left the Frederick's Armor. Unfortunately, that was in Charlock. Not only in Charlock, but in the Vanilla Sword chest, so did necessitate a double dive. Not my favorite, but it worked out. So no complaints from me on this one. Good race all over. Again, some optimizations, mostly not forgetting to buy keys. I still don't like the play if you're only looking for one thing to check the Vanilla Sword chest first. It's basically a 1.5 to 2 minute time commitment. Since we weren't repelling anything, potentially even more. I mean, going back certainly was more of a time commitment and necessitated a double dive, but still, the odds-on play with, what, 70 or 80... 85-86% chance that the armor was in the basement. I mean, you really can't go wrong with the numbers there. That was just a bit of luck. But other than that, I mean, pretty much everything else was fairly efficient. Maybe a little bit ambitious trying to get into the zones in this area, taking out werewolves and wraiths and all that good stuff. Perhaps a little bit too early. Could have tried to grind out another level or 2, pick up a little bit more HP. Before going for that stuff, but realistically, as it turned out, level 6, level 7 each only had 2 HP. They really wouldn't have been much help. So it really wasn't until level 8, and that would have taken quite a bit of time on basically Zone 0 and maybe some Zone 2 enemies. Everything else I think went pretty well. No complaints, good stuff.